In 1915, Mahatma Gandhi was swarmed by crowds of people on his return to India. He was already revered for his civil rights work as an expatriate lawyer in South Africa, and they wanted to hear him speak.
He told them their weapon was non-violent resistance against the political forces that had held them in crushing bondage.
With widespread support in his native land, Gandhi began organizing peasants, farmers, and laborers to protest against discrimination and excessive land tax. In 1921, he became president of the Congress Party, the central force in the country's struggle under the British Raj. Under his leadership, the party set goals for a new India.
The people of the untouchables caste must be given equality and dignity. Indians, both wealthy and poor, must discipline themselves to a new morality. No alcohol, no opium. India's 300 million Hindus and 100 million Muslims must cease their bitter and deadly rivalry. There must be equality for women, and the people must establish a productive economy.
And above all, Gandhi preached, Indians must achieve full self-ruin. As a first step, he sought a boycott of British goods and began the new program with a spinning wheel.
India grew hundreds of tons of cotton annually, and yet Indians were unemployed half the year. Instead of sending their raw cotton to English mills, why not make their own cloth? Thus began the khadi or homespun movement.
Gandhi also urged the people to boycott British schools and law courts and to resign from government employment. The civil disobedience campaign continued until 1922, when many Congress leaders urged mass demonstrations of non-cooperation. Gandhi feared there might be violence and persuaded them to confine it to one area near Bombay so he could supervise. In February, though, a large protest in the town of Chauri Chaura turned violent. Police opened fire on demonstrators, who in turn set fire to a police station, killing all 23 policemen inside. 3 civilians were also killed in the clashes. Gandhi decided the Indian people were not ready for independence and suspended the non-cooperation movement. Well, on the evening of March 10, 1922, Gandhi was arrested in his ashram and charged with sedition. The evidence consisted of 3 articles he had published in Young India. The charge in each case, inciting hatred, contempt, and disaffection towards His Majesty's government. Gandhi proudly pleaded guilty to all 3 charges and asked the court to impose the harshest penalty possible. He was sentenced to 6 years in prison, but served less than 2 years of his term. Gandhi was released in February 1924 for an appendicitis operation and remained free, for a while at least. Over the next 3 decades, while Gandhi was once again at the forefront of the struggle for Indian independence and continued to defy British rule, he was arrested and imprisoned several more times. Once, after he famously led Indians in challenging the British-imposed salt tax with the 250-mile Dandi Salt March in 1930, and again after calling for the British to quit India in 1942. Gandhi's ultimate goal of an independent homeland was finally achieved in 1947, when Britain handed over power to the Indian subcontinent.
This was the consummation of Gandhi's dream. India stood before all nations as a symbol that nonviolence can be an invincible force.
1 year after realizing his dream, Gandhi was killed by an assassin's bullet.
The whole world was shocked by the news of Gandhi's assassination. Known as the father of India's independence, Gandhi, with perhaps the largest following any man ever had in his own lifetime, was one of the most vital figures of our age.
One who remained a role model for leaders in subsequent protest movements everywhere, including the civil rights struggle in the United States, that they could use their willingness to be penalized for their beliefs as a means to advance their cause.